All right, guys, welcome back to another video. So as we know, Black Friday and the Christmas holidays are just around the corner, and there are going to be some great deals in gaming, which is awesome to see because the last couple of years, there really hasn't been that much when it comes to the premium consoles that are out there with the Series X and the PlayStation 5. There was a Series S deal last year, but I don't believe there was a big discount with the Series X, which is changing this year as they have deals where you're getting bundles with Modern Warfare, and then you can pick another additional game, and they're actually even reducing the overall price of those bundles. So pretty good stuff there. And now we have this, which is an interesting deal and really shows how NVIDIA GeForce Now and Xbox Game Pass are coming together to give just a huge selection of games on the PC side of things with the subscription services. So NVIDIA here is offering a limited time ultimate bundle, which will include Xbox's PC Game Pass and GeForce Now. Now, that's not the only thing they announced. There's actually 3 announcements. We'll go over them. It says here that first off, they're offering a new membership deal where anyone who signs up for a 6-month GeForce Now Ultimate membership fee will also net free access to Xbox PC Game Pass for 3 months. And that's pretty cool because you're getting NVIDIA GeForce Now being able to stream all of the games within your PC game library. You're getting access to PC Game Pass. And we also know that Xbox games are available through NVIDIA GeForce Now. One of the major things with the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition was that 10-year deal for Call of Duty and the Activision Blizzard games. So those will all be available on GeForce Now. Now, the next announcement is that GeForce Now will be receiving a major update that will allow it to sync with subscribers to Xbox PC accounts and Ubisoft Plus subscriptions. So you're going to be able to now interact with people across the entire PC ecosystem, which is great. That's always something that you like to see, especially on PC when there are so many different launchers, so many different things you can be signed into, have friends lists across so many Ubisoft, Epic, you have Steam, you have all of these different launchers. That just makes it a headache for it to all be spread out. So having it all linked is a good thing. Now, finally, the third big announcement is they're actually adding 18 games, and you can see here a bunch of them are also available on Xbox and on PC Game Pass. So you're going to get access to all of this stuff with these NVIDIA Christmas holiday bundles and deals. Lots of deals coming up. I've already made some purchases, some orders. I got some games off of these local game stores, which had some great Black Friday deals, pretty much blowouts. So I'm going to keep my eye on whatever else is coming down as we get closer to Black Friday and beyond that. Now let's jump over here to, I would say, one of the most exciting announcements that we've gotten in a little while when it comes to fighting games and when it comes to Xbox as well, and that is Killer Instinct. It looks like it is getting a massive revival. We had heard previously that there was going to be that 4K update coming, and now we officially know when we're going to hear more about this, and that is during the 10th anniversary stream on November 22nd, 2023. If you remember, 10 years ago, the release of the Xbox One, Killer Instinct was one of those main launch titles for the console. And now we're coming on to that 10-year anniversary. Crazy how time flies. But this is what they tweeted out. Join us for a developer stream with Iron Galaxy on Wednesday, November 22nd at 1 p.m. Pacific, Killer Instinct's 10th anniversary, where we'll be sharing the latest news on the upcoming changes to Killer Instinct. And like I said, James Goddard, the lead designer, said that they would be improving online matchmaking, balance updates, and 4K support for the Xbox Series X and S. They say here we can expect to hear more details on these features during the 10th anniversary live stream. So great to see this happening. It's going to be coming out here in 2023. Another major Xbox game's coming out in 2023. Obviously, Iron Galaxy isn't a first-party Xbox game, but Killer Instinct is going to be exclusive to the Xbox platform. So that's another big win, I would say, this year, which has been a stellar year. The question here is, would it make sense for Xbox to go out and buy Iron Galaxy? I feel like it absolutely would. And will they be announcing something crazy like that on this stream on November 22nd? I don't know how much Iron Galaxy is worth. I don't think it's an insane amount of money that Xbox would have to pay. But to get an internal studio to be able to work on fighting games, which is a genre that Xbox does not have in their first party right now, doesn't have a big presence in Xbox Game Pass either, I think this would be almost a no-brainer move if it was something that they were looking at. But either way, I'm extremely excited for Killer Instinct to come back. That 4K update, you'll see a bunch of people jumping in there. The fighting game revival is here. This year has been phenomenal. Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 1, and now we're getting this 4K update for Killer Instinct. All right, let's talk about the PlayStation Portal, because that just released. And if you saw my unboxing, I did pick one up. I am going through the paces with it. I am going to put out my thoughts on it if anybody is interested for that, but I'll give you a quick glimpse as to what I think about the PlayStation Portal. Cool device, good screen, very convenient, works well, but there are definitely some issues with this device in terms of connection and just the overall playability and use cases for it. I'll definitely jump deeper into that after I test it out, put it through its paces. This weekend, I'm going to try a bunch of stuff like leaving my house and see how it all does end up working. But it looks like it is kind of selling pretty good here as the PlayStation Portal scalping is beginning, and Sony is telling players that it is sold out. So I wonder what these sales numbers are going to be for the PlayStation Portal. I feel like it won't be too bad. It'll definitely be better than something like the PlayStation VR 2. A lot of people are looking at this as just an easy way to play their PS5 when other people are using the PlayStation 5. And having the controllers attached to it, you're getting that full PlayStation 5 experience with all the haptics and the adaptive triggers and stuff like that. But we have this here in terms of the scalpers. We know this does for retail sell for $200. And apparently there is a shortage of these, which I really wasn't expecting, because there are tons of eBay listings. You've seen people laugh at how many eBay listings there are, but it seems like it's because it is sold out at Sony. You're seeing people trying to sell them here for $309, $299, $329, all of this stuff here. We'll see if these actually do sell. Maybe this is just right at the beginning where they're trying to take advantage of people's being afraid of missing out on this device and the hype that you will see across social media for people that do have it and who are enjoying using it. But like I said, I will do a deeper dive into what I think about this device later this weekend or going into next week. All right, let's talk here about Redfall. Redfall, they're still working on it. They're still improving it. And I love to see it. I honestly do love to see it. I was one of those people that when Redfall did release was absolutely understanding all of the issues with it. Didn't think it was a great release on console. Lots of stuff that could be improved. But with that being said, I still had fun with the game. I still played through it. I still beat it in the 30 FPS with all of the issues. I thought that there was actually a lot there that they could take away, improve upon, and actually give us a great game. And they've done the 60 FPS already with Redfall on console. And now here we have update number 3, which is bringing a new unrivaled sniper rifle, the Basilisk. There's going to be balance changes to the Siphon and Watchers, and there will be continued performance and stability improvements, plus more. So they aren't giving up on Redfall. This is another update in a short span of time. I'm expecting to continue to see this. I hope at one point they actually do add some more content to this game and see if people are actually going to go out and play it and try it out. I'm sure there was a small boost after the 60 FPS patch. I know it wasn't huge. We saw some numbers, but maybe those increased slightly as more people found out about it and more people signed up to Game Pass and tried it out for the very first time. But I love that they are still working on it, and you never know. Going on for 3 years or so, 4 years down the road, maybe it'll be looked at as a game that had great ongoing support. I mean, you saw something like Cyberpunk 2077 that got nominated for the Game Awards for ongoing support, which to me was a very odd nomination because they were awarding a game that was released in a completely buggy state where they literally had to take it off of the PlayStation Store. I don't think Redfall will ever get that nomination, but we've seen crazier things happen at the Game Awards. So I'll check out this update and just see how its overall improvements of the Redfall game, how it makes it a better experience, especially with those performance and stability improvements that they are adding. Okay, let's talk about Embracer Group. Embracer Group's in the news again. And obviously not for good reasons. They are going to be going out there and they're going to be continuing with their layoffs, continuing with cutting back and all of that type of stuff. And one of the games under the Embracer Group was or is Knights of the Old Republic, the remake. You remember Sony came out at their showcase and they announced that game and people got very excited. Obviously, they announced that game way too early as there's been major issues with studios developing it. And now we have this here where Lars Wingefors, the CEO of Embracer, was asked about Knights of the Old Republic remake. The analyst asks this: how are you feeling about Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake? I know it's your favorite question. And Lars Wingford says, I notice that anything I say to this becomes a headline, so that is my only comment. So you can almost bet that the Knights of the Old Republic remake, if it doesn't get fully canceled, is a far, far way out. A shame, because this would have been an incredible game to be remade, and it needs to be done well. There's a huge fan base there. For me personally, I have so many memories for it. It was one of the first major big RPGs that got me into RPGs on the OG Xbox. Also sad that it is going to be a console exclusive, whether that is timed or whatever. Hopefully it does eventually make its way out onto the Xbox, but if they ruin this game, it will be a very, very sad day in gaming. And how I know and how we know that they are going to continue to make cuts, which is probably going to hurt the KOTOR remake, is we have this here as well, saying that Embracer has reduced its debts to 1.4 billion, saying that's on track to get it down to half of that by April. And Stephen Totilo says that'll take a lot more cutting. Management today indicated that more studio divestment is coming. So there could be some studios out there that are ready to be sold. Think of about a Gearbox, and there are going to be buyers out there. There are going to be major companies, Microsoft, Sony, maybe even Amazon, or maybe Tencent's going to try to jump in there and buy a bunch more. Who knows? There are going to be some major buyers, big players. Netflix could even try to get in there and pick up some of these studios that the Embracer Group is most likely going to be selling off. So when we talk about acquisitions, we talk about how, yeah, there's been some huge ones, but they aren't even close to being done. There's going to be continuous news about acquisitions going forward to 2024, 2025, as the industry is somewhat, in a way, consolidating. And I think one of the major reasons for that is because of the costs. A lot of these studios grew fast or took on way too much debt, not realizing how much it would cost to make some of these big AAA games now going forward into the future. So a lot of them are trying to sell off while they can and still get some money back. And then these major groups like Embracer, who go out there and just purchase whatever they can and don't really care about gaming. They're just caring about their bottom line. It's biting them right now because they went out on these crazy spending sprees. So we'll see what happens here with the Embracer Group, with more stuff that they are going to be most likely selling off, or unfortunately cutting more employees. Now, when it comes to the gaming industry expanding even more, you have a major player here like NetEase, who's huge in the games as a service multiplayer side of stuff, and they are continuing to expand, as well as they're adding a new studio led by a Mass Effect veteran. They say here, we're proud to announce the launch of Worlds Untold, a remarkable addition to the NetEase Games family. Led by industry veteran Mac Walters, the studio aims to change how players experience stories, as their debut will deliver action and mystery in a breathtaking world. So we'll see what this means. Are they going to be going here for a major open world RPG, something along those lines? I mean, if they have Mass Effect veteran here making games, your thinking is probably going to be in the RPG world. So again, another player here. When it comes to the competition, we always like to look at Xbox versus PlayStation, but it's Xbox now that really have to think about all of these players coming in. Like, you have the Tencents, you have the NetEases. Again, a company like Netflix is trying to get into gaming, and they're trying to expand out. So lots of huge players that Xbox has to keep their eye on, which is why they're going out and making these acquisitions, which is why they're trying to expand out into mobile, because they know the growth there is going to help them fend off companies like NetEase that are going to continue to grow, going to continue to try to acquire, and going to continue to try to add new studios. And finally, we got to talk about this again, the Xbox tax. I know there's a lot of discussion out there. There's a lot of theories as to what the Xbox tax is and whether it truly does exist. And the more I think about it, the more I lean towards, I don't think there is this major conspiratorial behind the scenes hate towards Xbox in gaming journalism. I don't really think there is a true Xbox tax that you could put your finger on and say they're doing this on purpose. But I do believe in any form of art and any form of reviewing, there is always a bias. It's almost impossible to not look at art, which video games are an art, and not have some subjective bias towards it. And the reality of the situation is, in video games, PlayStation is a more popular brand. You are more likely than not going to have people who prefer the PlayStation platform reviewing games, reviewing Xbox games, all of these types of things across the gaming industry. It's just how the numbers, I think, will play out. So there probably is some bias that goes in to covering the Xbox platform, but I don't think there is this Xbox tax where they are doing it really on purpose, going behind the scenes, getting together and deciding to hurt the Xbox. That's the way I see it. However, there is this clip here that was found from 2018. This is a great find as it adds to the discussion about the tax. We have Major Nelson here, who essentially is saying he knows about these Xbox tax. He knows that Xbox is measured by a different measuring stick from other developers, and there's really nothing they can do about it. They just have to go out there and try to make great games for the gamers. So let's listen to what Major Nelson says here. There is some repeating with this edit, but yeah, I will play it for you guys because it was actually a very interesting thing during a time where everybody is talking about the Xbox tax.
I think you're not getting the credit you deserve this generation.
We never will.
Yeah.
We never will.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen this. It's like we know that there's a different yardstick for the different developers. Right. It's like we know that there's a different yardstick for the different developers.
Right.
You know, the Nintendo guys are great. I've got my Switch right here in case I want to play Fortnite.
Yep.
So, I mean, those guys are great. I talked to Reggie the other day. The guys over at PlayStation, they're executing. They've had tremendous success this time around. But, you know, it's funny, with us, I think it's maybe because, I don't know. So I think people like, oh, I hate Windows because I have to use it at work, or I'm doing email, or I don't want to do this PowerPoint for work. So I don't know if some of that anxiety and whatnot drifts over to Xbox, but, you know, we just want to do the best we can for games.
So there you have it. I mean, he specifically says here, he knows that people look at Xbox in a different lane. That was back in 2018. And that was during an era, the Xbox One era, where you could argue because of, let's say, the failure of that generation with not releasing nearly enough games, the platform essentially falling flat, people looked at Xbox in a different light compared to how they looked at it during the Xbox 360 generation. And that has carried over now into the Xbox Series X and S. People who were playing on PlayStation. PlayStation has continued to provide their platform and keep all of their fans. You can see it by the sales and the fandom over the PS4 and the PS5. And you have this overarching view of Xbox still that is unfair when you look at everything they've done so far, being the best value in gaming, having non-stop first-party games in 2023, and they're going to have non-stop first-party games in 2024. The games that they are releasing are of high quality. Even if you personally don't think these games are good, the objective look at these games, they are high quality. Hi-Fi Rush, one of the highest quality games to release in 2023 against everything else out there in the gaming industry. And then you look at Starfield, which I think objectively is a phenomenal RPG. May not be for everybody, but it is a phenomenal RPG. So they are doing very well. And you think of Forza Motorsport. I mean, you can go on Forza Horizon, Halo Infinite. Although Halo Infinite had a bad launch in terms of the content for multiplayer, I think it's absurd that people forgot about it as ongoing game support this year. Because, I mean, you look at how they've turned that game around, and it's still, I would say, the best feeling first-person shooter out there in terms of the gameplay, and definitely the best feeling Halo in terms of gameplay. So there's a lot of positive stuff when it comes to Xbox, but people still will look at it in a negative light. And I think that is kind of just ingrained in some people's consciousness when they're looking at Xbox. I don't think it's something they're doing maliciously to try to hurt the platform itself, but even Xbox here is kind of recognizing that there is a different measuring stick. They were the new people to the gaming industry when they launched with the OG Xbox. PlayStation had already been in there. Nintendo had already a massive fan base. So it's going to be years and generations before they're going to be able to be looked upon the same way, I think, that PlayStation and Nintendo are. But going forward, all they got to do is continue to release great games, and that Xbox tax will fade away. They've had games that have been reviewed very, very well, and it does show that people will start to see Xbox in that more positive light if they continue just to release great content. But I'll leave the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.